We're going to start with housekeeping. Now, the meeting's being live streamed on Council Facebook page, recorded for viewing at a later date on our YouTube channel. In an earthquake, drop, cover and hold. If the shaking is long or strong, leave the building at the nearest exit and proceed up to Napier Hill along Dalton Street. So this way, continuing up the steps to Cameron Road. Evacuation, if an emergency alarm sounds, look at Katrina Brunton and check, and if we need to immediately evacuate the building through the nearest exit, proceed to the assembly area on the grass outside this area here. Emergency exits are marked. Toilets are down the hallway to the right. Calling for apologies, please. An apology from Louise Parsons. Councillor Parsons, any other apologies?
I'll move that they be accepted.
Okay, thank you. Happy to second that. Welcome to Tanya Hopman's online. That's all. Is there any other apologies? No. You haven't received anything? No. Thank you. Moved and seconded. Conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts to declare on the agenda today? No. You're also welcome to raise conflicts during the papers. Confirmation of the previous minutes on the 29th of October 2025 meeting. Are there any comments or amendments to those? Happy to move those, Councillor Rodley?
Very happy to move those.
Thank you. Councillor McIntosh? Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to decision items. We're starting with the standing orders. I might, do you first, Nick? Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and kia koto, councillors. Just by way of introduction, today is quite a procedural set of decision items for you. We will work through standing orders, code of conduct, council governance structure, council appointees to other bodies, and council remuneration and allowances. And I'm just going to call on members of the governance team to assist with each paper. Largely they can be taken as read, but heading to item 4.1 on standing orders, I'm just going to hand to Leanne just to talk about the national approach to standing orders.
Kia ora, thank you, Nick. Right, well, this standing orders, as we've been using them for the past 3 to 6 years, and so I haven't made any changes in anticipation of what's coming from central government. They have tasked Standards New Zealand with writing a set of standard standing orders across the board for use by all of local government. So in the next 3 to 4 months, we'll carry out a review of what this standing order says, compare it with what the mandatory set of standing orders is, and see whether we have any leeway to personalise the mandatory ones coming from central government at all. And also I've taken some feedback from councillors about how they work in practice and that, and we'll bring back a brand new set at the end of April for the council's adoption. If there's any questions.
So Leanne, we can adopt the standing orders as they are today, and once these new standards come out, there'll be an opportunity then to make amendments, changes, and re-adopt them.
Correct. And the only other thing I would ask today is to confirm that you're happy to go with the most relaxed way of moving and seconding and making amendments to recommendations and resolutions.
Option B.
Option B.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
No? Is it option B?
Option
B.
C.
Option C, I
I
think
thought
it is.
option C
Yeah.
was most flexible because that allowed the mover and seconder to accept the amendments.
Correct.
The difference.
And it's more in line with the way that this council has operated in, coming together to discuss how to make the best resolution possible with everybody having input.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
But the papers say that actually we have used the existing 2025 Hawke's Bay standing orders.
Yes.
Was that option B we worked with, or option C?
Oh, yeah, it should have been option C, I'm sorry,
Okay.
that must have been my mistake.
We can amend that when we come to recommendations.
Yeah.
Are there more questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes, sure.
Madam Chair, I'm just wanting to know when the best opportunity, should we do this now or consider this now or wait? I'm looking at page 66, paragraph 34, and it's in relation to the setting of the agendas for workshops. It's Appendix 10, it's to do with workshops. At 34, it says that group managers have the major role in establishing the workshop themes and approves the topics. I would have thought would be consistent with setting the agenda for committees that group managers, in consultation with the chairperson or deputy chairperson or relevant committee chairperson, would be a better way of approaching setting themes for workshops to be consistent with our other committee setting, agenda setting processes.
Would you like to comment?
I think that's an excellent suggestion, Chair.
You make that amendment?
Can make it.
Make that amendment, okay. Other questions or comments at this stage on this one? No, everyone's comfortable with that, and understanding as the new standards come out, we can personalise some of those if we want to. So the recommendations are to receive the report, agree the decision is not significant under the criteria. We're going to agree to continue using the 2025 standing orders, including option C. We're going to change that to C. Are you just checking that, Councillor Ormsby? Is that what you?
No, it's just my understanding.
But
it
it is
was
C,
option C that we have used for
We
the
have
last
used.
two.
So we'll make that a amendment to that. And the recommendations also note that review is undertaken so we can make changes later. Would someone be happy to move that? Councillor Whitehall, seconded Councillor Van Beek. Any more comments? No? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you, carried. Item 4.2, Code of Conduct.
Thank you, Chair. This is a fairly simple item and identifies and asks you to consider the Code of Conduct. And there's a set of recommendations to adopt the Code of Conduct as proposed. But I also note that there is work going on nationally, similarly to the last item, for a consistent set of codes of conduct around the country. So I might just ask Leanne if she has any comment on that national process, Chair.
Kia ora. Thank you again, Nick. So it's a new code of conduct. The one that we have provided to you today is actually the draft that has been written by the Secretary for Local Government and is part of a bill in front of the House. I can't remember what the bill is called, I'm sorry. So if there are any changes to that text in that Code of Conduct that come out of the process through the House, then it's just a matter of us just picking those up and bringing them back to Council, showing you what the changes have been and getting a re-adoption. It's similar to the standing orders in that it's come at central government direction. However, it's in my my understanding of the draft and having read through it and comparing it to what's been in before, there's no real material change to the intent of it. It's just a matter of tidying it up, maybe making some of the language clearer and setting it out in a way that's more understandable. That's what I took from it. But if anybody has any specific questions or suggestions?
Any questions for Leanne? I know a few amendments and some ideas have already been passed back for tidying up within the Code of Conduct, so dealt with prior to the meeting. So the recommendation is that we receive the Code of Conduct staff report. We agree that the decision, again, is not significant under our criteria, and we adopt the Code of Conduct 2025 as proposed. Do I have a mover for that?
Move that.
Thank you. Councillor Van Beek. Councillor McIntosh. Thank you. Comments? No? Anything more to say? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried, thank you. Item 4.3, the proposed Hawke's Bay Regional Council governance structures for the 2025-28 triennium.
Excuse me, Chair, could you just direct us to what page that is in the agenda?
I can, indeed. It's a very big agenda, I know. Page 150, and on your pads now, you've got the little box in the corner that shows you the numbers. You can type directly the page number into that. It'll take you directly there.
You said it was?
Page 150.
So you've got
page 9, isn't
Yeah, you've got a condensed version. Somehow you seems to be getting all this stuff that we don't get. So
Yeah.
we still have to troll through all of ours.
It goes with rank.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seem to sort of help you.
This one comes with pictures.
Has everyone got this one?
Get on that.
Docs on tap, docs on tap, you can go straight to the.
And a crayon.
So if you go to Docs on Tap and you type in page 150 in the little box in the left-hand corner, you'll get item 4.3
Just click on 4.3.
directly from.
Specifically that.
Oh, yeah.
Easier.
Once it's page 3.
Has
From the top.
everybody?
Yeah, yeah.
Has everyone found it? Yes? Aye, okay. Chief Executive, do you want to introduce this for us, please?
Very
Oh,
briefly,
I tap on there.
thank you, Chair. So this item really sets out the proposed governance structures for this triennium, so the formal committees of council. I'll ask Desiree just to take you through briefly the item, and then there's a long series of recommendations for each of your committees to work our way through.
Done our homework. We're fine.
Thank you, Nick and Chair, tēnā koutou katoa, councillors. I am the Strategy and Governance Manager and the co-author of this paper. So as Nick said, I was just going to briefly talk to the importance of the governance structure, can take any questions, and then I'll hand back to the Chair to manage the nominations. So agreeing the governance structure is really a foundational building block for the term. It is fully your prerogative as the council to set the structure, but the proposals in front of you do build on learnings from previous terms. It is important as the governance structure, so the number and the frequency of meetings really sets the tempo for decision making, and the scope of the terms of reference are what we can work within. The goal really is for efficient and effective decision making, and to manage it's to conduct the business of council. So for good decision making, you as councillors need the right advice and information, and staff work to the timeframes of those committee meetings to provide you that information. Decision making also needs to be done in an open and transparent manner, and it has been a practice of this council and in the standing orders that you've just adopted that our workshops are open by default, which is consistent with Ombudsman's advice. Procedurally, the first step is for you as councillors to agree the voting method for chairs and deputy chairs on those committees. The proposal in front of you suggests option B, which is what you used at the inaugural meeting. Again, your prerogative to choose that. And then the recommendations systematically work through setting the terms of reference and the nominations for chair and deputy chair of the 9 committees and council. So I will take any questions and hand back to you, Chair.
Any questions? Yes, Councillor Curtin.
Madam Chair, just in terms of 4.3, one of the proposed committees is described as the Finance, Risk and Audit Committee. I wonder if we reconsider that and reference it as the Finance, Audit, Risk and Emergency Committee. So adding in an important element into that, so it becomes the Fair Committee as opposed to the other committee, that other one.
Well, it would become FRAM. Actually, you're only interested in the acronym, are you? Is that
Yes.
management? The Finance and Risk and Audit Committee, as I understand it, also will include the performance reporting, coming back to council quarterly. So it does have a number of other functions in there as well. I'd be interested, Chief Executive, we did discuss the terms of reference for this with staff. Do you think it's necessary to add emergency in this at this point, or do you think the terms of reference have covered that? Just an opinion from you.
Look, I think I'm open to the guidance of council, really. The terms of reference certainly cover emergency management, and I think 4.3 articulates that. But if council wishes to have emergency in the title of the committee, then it's absolutely your prerogative. I don't have a view.
So other comments on that?
Well, just briefly commenting on it,
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's simply to bring home, given the circumstances of the last term, particularly around emergency management, that this council has got its eyes firmly fixed on its role and its obligations around emergency. So it's if you like, for public awareness that we're all over it.
Yes. Yeah, I like the idea. Councillor Van Beek?
Yeah, as we learned when we were in Hastings Terra as new councillors, that there is importance in the name, as we all have an importance with our own name, and similar with the committee, this actually will give it impetus that this is what we're there for, and that we don't forget that important part of what we have been through and what we hopefully won't repeat ever again. Thank you.
So I think what we need, any more questions for Desi, and then we'll work through adopting the voting system, and then we can come back to any amendments we need to make to the names. But are there any other questions for Ms Cull around the governance structure? Thank you, Councillor McElroy.
I've just got a query on 4.2 and 4.9. I noticed a decrease in the amount of hui from quarterly to 3 times a year for Environment Integrated Catchments Committee, concerning the importance of the environment of the Regional Council and the RMA. Why that's been decreased, and also not quite sure if the chair of the Māori Committee is aware of 4.9. There's also been a decrease in the Māori Committee hui, and in the interest of Te Tiriti and partnership, I'm just finding out why we're reducing the amount of hui other than financial.
I'll have a go at answering that, and then I'll throw to you, Nick. Those two committees are often covering the same content, so they've both been reduced in frequency. And it was trying to align, for future, one of the key findings was that we were an outlier in the number of meetings that we had as governance, and the governance transactions was high, and the burden that placed on staff and governors, just the volume of meetings. So we looked for ways to reduce that. One, we reduced the frequency of those two committees. We also gave decision-making powers to those bodies. So we've sort of tried to balance the reduction with increased powers and decision-making. And yeah, it was kind of trying to find that balance more than anything.
Nothing further to add.
I'll just add to the comment that it doesn't preclude us from having workshops during the year at any time, and the workshops, in fact, open the opportunity for a less formal environment to have conversations that lead to papers in the committee space that need decisions. So I don't think we'll see a reduction in the interactions or the engagement on those topics. We'll just see less formal meetings, yeah.
Increased decision making.
Any other questions around the general structure before we move into the actual committees? So we need to make a decision first, Leanne, on the voting system, adopt that first. Are we all happy to adopt voting system as suggested for the election of committee chair and deputy chairs? everyone in agreement with that? Yes? Is that a separate, do I need to move and second that? Yes. So we're moving item 3? You put them together. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to put to the table that we move recommendations 1, 2 and 3, receive the report, agree the decisions aren't significant under the criteria and adopts voting system B for the election of committee chairs and deputy chairs. Have I a mover for that?
I'll move that.
Councillor Van Wyk. Councillor Roadley, thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to move.
1, 2 and 3. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried, thank you. The terms of reference we're going to come to, you didn't want to adopt the terms of reference. We're going to go through those one by one now, are we? Okay. So let's start with our first committee. Item 5 is our first one, establishes the Environment and Integrated Catchment Committee and adopts the terms of reference as proposed. We'll move each one, or you want to do them as a whole?
Yep, each one is fine. I was wondering whether you wanted to adopt first. What way did it all?
We've just moved 1, 2 and 3. We didn't move 4. So we're going to go back to that last one, and we are now also going to move adopt the terms of reference for the Hawke's Bay Regional Council as proposed. So that's number 4. Please, can I have a mover and a seconder for that, as we didn't pick it up last? Councillor McElroy, terms of reference. Thank you, Councillor Ormsby.
Question, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Chair. Can we please be informed on which committees are changing to decision-making committees versus just advisory committees?
Yes,
Yeah.
did you look, and, yep, through, does it in the terms of reference for each one?
So obviously council decision-making, and it's that centralised body. It's always intended that the most important, and some under the statute, decisions can only be made by council, such as setting rates. The difference between last term and this term is environment and EICC and the new or whatever we're calling it, finance, risk audit and emergency. That has always been decision-making body, but we have just said if it's allowed for in the long-term plan, that those bodies can make decisions. So instead of recommending to council, we try to streamline decision-making by giving the committee those powers. So it's really EICC and finance, risk and audit and emergency. Just checking with Leanne, I think that's really those two. And we've just broadened the decision-making bodies, powers of those two bodies.
Okay. I think the key piece is as long as it fits within the long-term plan and approved budget. So if something new comes into the committee that needed further discussion, that would need to be referred back to full council.
Sure. Secondary question, just based on that, if those two are decision-making committees, do all members get to vote? All members of that committee
Yes,
get
correct.
to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a question. And both committees are committees of the whole?
Yes.
Thank you. Just making in line with.
Yes, correct.
including the appointees to those committees.
They would get to vote.
Comments on, did you want to make a comment on that? Because I just so that everyone understands around the table.
It's quite a departure, but it's
It is.
but it's don't mind it at all. Any views? Any other views?
Any other views? So those committees were, they would pass recommendations to full council. So the member from the Māori committee and from the RPC would vote at that table, but the final voting decision would be at the regional council table. Under this, those members' votes will count towards the decision making.
Question. So when is that going to be decided that that is the way we're going to do it?
Now,
Because it's a diversion of what we have done in the
Yeah.
past.
yes, it is.
And so we've always, as a council, we've always based decisions on those who are elected by the ratepayers. So we're actually now going to divert from that.
So, Desi, I'll come back to you. I think that there's two options, that that the appointed members don't vote within those committees, or we go back to double debating. So we can't have both. If we wish to have voting at the table, then we may, and those votes not to be decision-making votes, then we have double debating. It goes back to regional council for the final decision. Or we make our appointees non-voting members, advisory members only. Are those the two options? Can you talk us through that?
That is right. So you'll see in the terms of reference for EICC, for example, on page 162, it's in section 5, authority to act. So the Environment and Integrated Catchment Committee is delegated by council all powers necessary to perform the committee's responsibilities within the boundaries set in the long-term plan, including. So there are guardrails around that, and that they can only act within the budgets and the work programs set in the long-term plan, which was set by council. But you're right, it is giving more power to the committee. So an example might be the EICC could hear submissions and adopt the pest management plan. But the decision to do the plan and the funding for that plan was set by council in the long-term plan.
Perhaps another example as well?
Then another example would be previously the compliance annual report, just looking to Katrina, has gone to corporate and strategic, and that was recommended to council for adoption. That committee would actually have the power to adopt the annual report of the compliance team.
Yes. The issue for me, actually, I think, as Councillor Van Baker's put it, is that I think there would be a fair bit of disquiet, however much we value the opinion of our colleagues, if decisions were made that incorporated votes from non-elected members. And so I'm reluctant to go back to double debating. But actually, if that is the only choice between the two, then I would suggest we're better to do the double debate.
This is what we discussed at the end of last term, which we thought was what we wanted to move away from. I'll just make the comment that the decisions in these committees will be decisions already within the work streams and annual plan pipeline. So anything outside of those will need to go back to full council. But I'd be interested, Mr. Paku, in your views on the issue of, or the question of being a non-voting member within this structure, if we structure it that way.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to all the new councillors, ka mihi kia koutou. Personally, for me, I've had no issue with not being a non-voting member of this group. It's not whether I have the vote or not. It's what is the value of what I have to say and how that is received. I do take the point of Councillor Van Dijk in regards to the general public. I note Hastings District Council with their subcommittees, they gave the appointees the ability to vote, and there was quite a bit of noise around that, even though Hastings District Council continued on with that policy. I'm neither fussed one way or the other. As I said, for me, it's the value of what I have to say that's more important. And the other part of that is too, if you're going to ask someone to come to that table, so it's about recognising their mana, and perhaps so giving them that vote as part of that, recognising their mana, of sitting there even if it is in that so-called advisory capacity. One or two voices is not going to change the world per se. I do know that there are times when there have been tight votes at this table. If I put my ratepayers hat on, and if a non-elected member, if you like, had the ability to dictate where something went, I may not be particularly happy with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think those are the questions that you have, but I do see Tanya's up on the board. She may have a slightly different opinion.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Tanya Hopmans.
Tēnā tātou. First of all, greetings to you all and congratulations to all our elected councillors. Just on this matter, I do think it is important that people who come to the table or are invited to the table have the mana to participate in the decision making at the table. So I would be supportive of allowing them a vote. I understand the concern raised by some around them not being elected ratepayers. Elected by the ratepayers. However, I think in our committees we recognise the value of the contribution from tangata whenua. So from that perspective, I think it's important to be able to give them the mana at the table to have a vote. My question was around the number of the Māori committee and the RPC committee appointees to these various committees that we are considering here for this amended process. Are we talking 2 votes out of how many members at that committee, at each of these committees?
So in each of the committees, you'll see the membership at the bottom of the paper. So, for example, EICC is all councillors. 1 appointed member from Māori Committee and 1 appointed member from the Regional Planning Committee. So there hasn't been a change in those.
Yeah, understood. So it's not a large number of people who could potentially dilute the vote. So from that concern, I don't think there is a concern from that perspective. Sorry, I've only recently found out about this meeting, so I'm not over the papers, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms Hopmans. I don't think that the swaying of the votes or the number is probably the concern. I think the issue we're probably dealing with is the voting power on decision-making items of non-elected members. I think that's the question at
Madam
the table.
Chair, could we perhaps address either in standing orders or the Local Government Act as to the opportunities for non-elected members of committees to vote? Can we have? Currently, they do vote on a recommendation.
Recommendations.
So now we have the discussion is around whether they vote on a decision-making item or make a decision as opposed to a recommendation.
Correct.
Is there provision in standing orders? Madam Secretary might be able to help us, and or the Local Government Act, any prohibition for that to happen?
No, so the provision is actually in Schedule 7 of the Local Government Act, which says that council can establish any decision-making bodies that it wants to, and it can appoint basically anybody except a staff member to that, and can delegate whatever powers it wishes other than setting a rate, adopting an annual plan, an annual report, or an LTP.
Sorry, Madam, just therefore following up on that, is it likely that the either of those 2 committees that we're having this discussion about would consider long-term plan to be a council decision?
Yes.
The setting a rate as a council decision?
Yes.
The other one you mentioned?
Long-term plan, annual report, and setting the rates are all council decisions. So those final decisions will always rest with the council. You can't delegate that to any subordinate, what they call a subordinate decision-making body. Any of your other powers for the examples that Desiree used were adopting the regional pest management plan, adopting the compliance annual report. Those are powers that you can delegate to a subordinate decision-making body.
Can I follow up, Desiree, maybe answer that? Would any of those items, particularly those nominated, long-term plan, setting the rate and the other one, would they be at all transacted through the FARE committee, F-A-R-E committee?
No.
No, none of that would go through there?
And that has been our practice. So these terms of reference probably better reflect our current practice. Like we have used council workshops and then council meetings to adopt annual plans, long-term plans. The current practice of having voting members from RPC, Tangata Whenua Rep and Māori Committee on committees, I think is something that is a strength of the organisation. So if the choice came down to removing the increased decision-making powers of the committee or the voting of a member on a committee, I think we would be my professional opinion that you'd want to keep the voting on the committees.
Councillor Hawke?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Look, just some points that have been outlined by yourself, Desiree and Leanne, is that I'm comfortable that there's some guardrails and there's some perimeters to work within for those decision-making powers to be increased by what we're discussing here. I feel somewhat comfortable about it. And to also note that we're talking about the Māori committee and the RPC. We just want to be explicit about these two committees and the value that they bring. And we, in your words, our organisation is strengthened by these committees having that increased power, if you like. So I'm reasonably comfortable, provided that those guardrails are quite robust.
Councillor Ormsby?
Yeah, kia ora. Thank you. Thanks, Desiree. So just to maybe clarify the order of decision-making, there are 4 primary realms of decision-making that only the councillors can make within their powers. And then within the subordinate committees that we're establishing, they're almost subordinate types of decision-making on other activities. So there is an order of power and hierarchy. So if we reflect on last term how we made decisions in our committees, although they're only recommendations to council, it would be the same type of activities that we will be making decisions on, and approximately how many of those decisions made at committee were refused by council?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Thank you.
Zero.
Thank you.
Councillor Rodriguez?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Desi. And actually, when we talked about this last term, this piece of it hadn't actually occurred to me, so I'm thinking about it now. But what I'm reflecting on was the message from Rick Barker this morning, who very clearly said to us we have 2 ones. One is to appoint chief executive, the second is to make decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think the manner of the decisions that we make is they are decisions for the people, by the people. What was the other thing? Something about the people. That this is actually a flow on of being an elected member, is that we represent not ourselves, but the people who we bring forward with us that are our community, who are our ratepayers, who are the people that we sit here with our shoulders. I'm drawn, Mike, to there would be no suggestion anywhere that would say that having advisories of yourself, Tania, or other representatives from those two committees, they bring nothing but strength and mana to the table and sound advice always, and also often pause for reflection. And I absolutely value that input to those decisions. But it would be my opinion that as elected members, it is our job to make the decision.
Yes, so can you be clearer, please? So you
I
do.
remember which was the
So
A or
are
B.
you supporting the appointed members from Māori Committee and RPC having voting rights on those?
No, I'm not.
On those committees, you'd like those to be advisory? Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Kuklinski?
I'm in support of what Mr Paku said as well. I don't believe non-elected members should be able to vote. That's why we are here. That's what Rick Barker talked about this morning. Obviously, we value the contribution. It's invaluable. But I think lots of members of the public would be unhappy if we gave that right away. But I do support the removal of the double debate. Having watched these meetings for a number of years.
Desiree, the terms of reference could be reformed that it's still a decision-making committee, but we have non-voting members on the committee. Is that a structure that can be in place?
I think it would be similar to what we do for council, which has non-voting members.
Representatives?
Just looking at Leanne.
So there'll be a clause.
Chair.
Yeah, Councillor Hawke.
Just through you, Chair, thanks for that. Desiree, I know in a vivid memory around the discussions and the debates that happened around the double debating and the use of double handling some of the information, and why, you know, the reduction, I guess, of meetings and the increase in those powers, because of it wasn't just a double handling of those meetings, it was and you mentioned it earlier, I guess the pressure and the workload put on the staff. Can you just unpack that a little bit for me, please? Just so I can adjust my thinking if it needs to be.
So I have had the privilege of being here for 3 terms now, and last term we did take steps to reduce the impact of double debate. So you will remember in a committee there would have been a set of recommendations, and then they were sort of put up to council and revisited, whereas last term they were put up, and if there was a recommendation to council, it was considered, but there wasn't another presentation. So we had already looked at streamlining double debate. So it seems to be that the decision is whether you retain voting appointed members onto committees, and we could take out the extended decision making like we had last time and keep that streamlined double debate, or keep the extended decision making powers in the committee and make the Māori committee and the RPC rep a non-voting member. I'm not sure if that answers your question. Sorry, Councillor.
Is everyone clear on the options? Understanding? Yep.
But maybe, Leanne, have I described the double debate properly?
Yes, I think so. So the efficiency that I understood from the Fit for the Future review and from feedback from councillors was having double debate means more meetings and decision-making twice removed, because what the practice was that the committee would hear and decide a recommendation to council, then the council only actually considered the recommendation in isolation of all the supporting information that went into that decision. And so what was happening was more a tick box, if you forgive me for saying that, was that council was just virtually confirming the committee's decisions. It wasn't putting any more input into it. And if I recall, one of the ways of addressing the decision-making, streamlining decision-making, was to give the decision to the lowest possible level able to make that decision, rather than having it going from one to the next to the, before a decision could be made. It's more efficient time-wise as well. And the way we practiced that was that instead of taking decisions for recommendation to committees, we just took them straight to council, because that was the body that was going to make the decision anyways.
So I think there's three options on the table. We have terms of reference that appoint a Māori committee member and an RPC member with voting rights and a delegated power to that committee to make decisions within the long-term plan. That's what's the paper we have. We have an option to recommend to go back to the double debate process, where our reps at the committee level vote and the recommendations made to full council, and we go through the streamlined process as we did last term, where we didn't bring all the information, simply the recommendation. Or we have a third option to put the clause from regional council that our reps sit on our delegated decision-making councils but have no voting rights. So those are the three options on the table.
Could you read the first one again, sorry, Chair?
What we currently have, the current suggestion on the table is that, for example, EICC has delegated decision-making within long-term plan parameters to make a decision. It does not need to go to council. It has one member from Māori committee, one from RPC, and they have full voting rights. That's the paper we have here. If we wish to make a change, we can either change back to the double debate system we had last triennium.
Recommendations only.
Recommendations only back to full, so make recommendations to full council. Or we could redo these terms of reference and that representation is the same, yet they sit at the table as they do at full council with non-voting powers.
But the decision is still made.
The decision is made at for example, EICC makes a decision, it's voted on at the table, but the two Māori and RPC reps do not have a voting right in that. So they'll be part of the conversation. So those are our three options. So are we looking for someone to make a suggestion for one of those, I guess?
We can deal with that when we do the different
Committees?
Yeah.
We
if we
can.
wanted to.
Okay. Would you like to, so do we need to move these terms of reference?
For the regional council.
For the regional council? But
And then we can move on to the next.
Okay, and then we'll talk about each one. So that's what's coming. We're going to move number 4, 4.3.4, just to adopt the terms of reference for the regional council as proposed. Let's move that one, get that one out of the way. Councillor Curtin, we happy to move that? That's just the terms of reference from before that we've already discussed. And then we'll go through the terms of reference for each committee.
Happy to move.
Happy to move that. Councillor McIntosh, happy to second?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Any?
Got a question.
Yes.
Those terms of reference
Yes.
don't include, because these are the terms of reference that are in our papers now, they don't include that we actually, on those particular committees, have RPC and Māori committee members voting. That's not in the terms of, that particular terms of reference that we're adopting right now?
No, not for the regional council.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
And because then we'll be moving on to each committee.
Yep.
Where we can amend the terms of reference as to the table's decision.
Just, for clarity.
Through you, Chair. And then also, as Councillor Curtin brought up, just around that 4.3 finance risk audit, are we including emergency?
we're not at that stage yet.
I know,
So
but we are at the stage, we are at item 4.3 and we're about to,
We're, yep,
Moving each
we're
part
moving
of the
just
item.
item 4 at this stage. And then
In
we'll
the
move on to each
recommendations.
committee.
that is part of 4.
Not in the recommendations itself.
No,
No, I'm lost on the recommendation.
five is, I know, they're complicated, they're always complicated to work through. So what we're moving at this stage is
Recommendation 4.
4, adopt the terms of reference for the Hawke's Bay Regional Council as proposed. Then we will move on to 5, 6, etc., each committee, and we will look at the terms of reference for each in regard to this conversation or any other comments. We'll work through each committee.
Thank you.
Yep.
Page 152.
Yes?
That's where the CEFL set is.
Have you got?
Through you, Chair,
Yes.
maybe help, when we're talking about the terms of reference for the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, it's for council as a council meeting. Then you'll work through each of your committees. in
So
order.
status quo, we say that.
Status quo for the council itself.
For the council itself.
Just to make sure.
We're just tidying up that number 4. Yeah. Yes, councillor Rodley?
Thank you, Chair. Could I just note, please, that I'm not sure if I'm even in the recommendations, but item 7, para 7 is about the shifting of the council meeting to 6 weekly, and I'm assuming that is to reflect the more decision-making powers that would be distributed to those 2 other committees. Therefore, if we move these and we don't do that, then we're back to 6 weekly meetings for council, but with still a whole lot of work to do. Have I read that right?
Are you looking at item 7 in
Yes.
4.3?
No.
We're on 4.3, councillor Rodley.
I can.
Can you help out there, Deb?
This is what happens when you have 260-page agendas. Yeah.
But that is not a recommendation, it's just the executive summary.
But is this part of the?
If council was,
Ormsby, did you have a?
it's just another option.
comment?
It's not a
Yeah,
proposal.
it is on that 6 weekly
Pages of recommendation.
question.
I'm assuming that's reflecting, assuming that we'll go with the other recommendations,
We're not
which
adopting
that would
them.
make sense.
You understand, Desi?
Yeah.
You do, okay.
So,
Page.
there was a comment made in the body of the paper that council could separately shift to 6 weekly. The proposal is that we retain the current frequency, which is monthly.
I understand, my apologies.
And that, again, was reflecting the Fit for Future review, which was to reduce the number of governance transactions. So one way to do that, it was a bit of a, you may also want to consider.
Yes, I understand now. My apologies.
Chair,
Yes.
possibly to deal with that point is when we set the calendar, that we can possibly address it there if we want to. But it sounds like it's status quo once a month.
For
Thank
now.
you.
And could be amended if we felt we needed to during that training. Okay, thank you. So I'm aware people are confused, but is there enough clarity on what we are adopting on 4.34, just adopting the terms of reference for the regional council? Is everyone comfortable with that? We have a mover and a seconder? Yes? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you. Let's move on to 4.35. Has everybody got that paper? We are now establishing the Environment and Integrated Catchments Committee, and we are going to adopt the terms of reference. And we are going to make a decision on the 3 options we have around the Māori reps at that table. So I'll be looking for direction from someone to move one of the 3 options as suggested.
Would you like to do that first? Which order would you like to follow, Madam Chair?
Yes, because we're dealing with the terms of reference, so that's
Terms of
one-
reference first? Okay.
This is within the terms of reference, one issue within it, there may be others, but let's deal with that one
Okay.
first off. So is there someone who wishes to move one of the options around this?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to move option 3.
Option 3 is to be clear that there will be one rep from the Māori Committee, one from the RPC. They will have no voting rights as per the terms of reference of the Regional Council.
I'll second it.
You happy to second that? Is everybody clear? Good. Would you like to speak to that
Yeah.
first?
First of all, it's a very important meeting that we're holding today. You know, we're really setting the tone for the next 3 years. And this has sprung upon most of us, if not all of us, that we're actually making a change. We haven't had a lot of time to think this through. However, I feel really strongly that we're making very important decisions and that our ratepayers have put us in this position. And that's what I expected when I campaigned, that's how we would run as a council. That's how we would make decisions. And that would be no other way. However, I do admit, Mike Paku, Mr. Paku, whatever I addressed you, I really have valued your input. Often it's at the end of the debate where you bring a lot of clarity, and for me, you bring a lot of mana. And I don't think that has to do with votes. It has to do with who you are and what you stand for, and have helped us understand where we need to go. So this is in no means reflecting that I don't value that, and I will continue to value that. Thank you very much.
Would you like to speak to that? No. So in your, on your pad, if you go to page 162, that shows you the full terms of reference. Are there any other, we have an amendment to the terms of reference. We'll come back to that in a minute. You have the wording for that. But has anybody else made any amendments or have comments on that? Councillor Roadley.
I wonder, is this the time to bring forward a suggestion to change the name?
It certainly is. It's exactly the time.
Okay. So currently the committee name is the Environment Integrated Catchment Committee, fondly known as EICC, which is easy to say, and I'm drawn to things that are easy to say. However, I'm not sure that the name resonates across our community as to what that is. And when I discuss it around what the work that this committee does, most people don't seem to understand that. Well, obviously when you say EICC, they absolutely do not understand, but even when it's fulsome name, it doesn't really showcase the work and the importance of the work that's done through this committee. I have a suggestion to make, and the suggestion that I would like to bring forward, I'm drawn by the idea that the environment is an interconnected system that connects the natural with human influenced processes. They shape our health of the region, the resilience, the sustainability of our environment. I try to think of a less structural word than systems, but I keep coming back to systems. And so I'm drawn to the wording Environmental Systems Committee. But when I wrote that down and looked for an acronym, it looks like ESC. And I thought that might actually create some confusion across the community. If we were meeting for the ESC committee, that would be could be perceived as something different. And so I wondered about putting the word regional in there just to make it the Regional Environmental Systems Committee. But I'm not committed to the word systems. I would love someone to suggest a more organic name than that, but that's kind of the idea I'm looking for. So the acronym for that would be RESC, which I don't think says anything. Unless some smart person could rejiggle the words.
What about just Environment Committee?
I did think about that.
Bio Committee, Environment Committee.
I did wonder about Environment Committee, but I'm not sure if that speaks to how the work of this committee is also speaks to flood resilience and water security. Those things kind of are more than just, I think when we speak about the environment and the community space, people are very drawn to land-based work, biodiversity, which is absolutely critically important, but not so much around water security and flood resilience. But that's my thoughts anyway. Welcome some ideas on that.
Councillor McIntosh.
Look, I hadn't considered this until you raised it, but actually I would just go with Environment Committee. I think water, both too much and too little, doesn't encapsulate both those things. And if we do water well, then actually it's of benefit to the environment. So,
Any other comments? You're going to have to picture something, councillor Roadley.
No, I'm happy with that. I like the conciseness of it. I like things to be simple. So, do I need to move a suggestion?
What we'll do, yes, you do,
Is
but
to-
let's wait for that. What we'll do is we'll adopt the terms of reference with
that not part of
the
the
amendment
terms
that's
of
been suggested. We'll see if that passes. We'll adopt the terms of reference and then we'll do the name separately. Are there?
Madam Chair, just because the committee is described in the terms of reference as the Environment Committee, as the EICC, maybe we need to resolve its name first.
Sure.
So,
Either, but
so can we say Regional Environmental Committee? Is it?
I'd be nervous that sounds like REC.
Only to the graffiti guys.
yeah, I mean, it can be used in its full name as well. So you're proposing, councillor Roadley?
I'm happy to go with the Environment Committee as a suggested name.
Then it will be less Madam Chair, then it will be less likely used as an acronym, but actually use the full name.
Yes, because as an acronym, it's not very satisfying.
That's fine. Okay. So you want to move that? Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to move that.
Yes, councillor McIntosh. Any other comments on that? Let's move the name first, and we'll go back to terms of reference.
So, Madam Chair, I just wonder whether to truncate that, is that simply it's an amendment to the terms of reference, and the amendment is the change of name.
Just because we're making changes to the terms of reference, the suggestion is let's just move those separately, and we'll move on to the terms of reference.
I'm suggesting that the name is part of the terms of reference.
What would you prefer, Leanne?
Well, to separate it out doesn't hurt, okay? In the end, we'll resolve what the name is, and then that can be incorporated into the terms of reference.
Can we just do it all
It's
together?
more a the issue that I see is if we vote on them together, it could be that some people would vote for one part of it and not for the other part of it.
Whatever, let's get on
Let's just move it. Okay. So we're going to move that we change the name to the Environment Committee. Do I have a mover and a seconder?
Yep.
Yes. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you. So now we're going back to the terms of reference. Were there
Madam
any?
Chair, I'd probably support a Tyler.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Noted. Back to the terms of reference. Were there any other comments? We've already had one amendment to the voting. To the voting nature of appointed members. Councillor Ormsby.
Chair, this is a standing orders question.
Yes.
As part of this terms of reference, will non-voting members get to speak in the decision-making process?
Yes.
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 Okay. We'll be using the same clause that we have for the regional council meetings. So it'll be the same reference to that. Are there any other comments on the terms of reference?
Can I just be clear, Chair, that in adopting option 3, we are retaining the right of this committee to make decisions?
Correct. We are not double debating? Yes. So there are no other changes to the terms of reference. So let's put the amendment to include the clause. Do you have the actual clause there, Leanne, from Regional Council? No, it's okay. We know that it's it'll be the same clause as the Regional Council clause?
Yes. They're non-voting members
Non-voting
with
members.
speaking rights.
Non-voting member with speaking rights, so that will come into the terms of reference. So we have a mover and a seconder for that. Do you want to, you've both spoken. Let's put that motion on the table. All those in favour of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Oh, okay, so that's carried. And we have no other amendments to the terms of reference. So I'll move to, do we take our chairs and seconders first and then adopt the whole piece together, or is that a separate piece?
We can just do
You'll do it
them
all together.
separately.
Great.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to call for nominations for the chair of the EICC committee, please. Councillor Van Wyk.
Yeah, I would like to nominate Councillor Rodley as chair.
Do you have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Curtin, do you accept the nomination? Councillor Rodley? Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, I do. One of the reasons why I nominated, so I could say something. So I think after what happened in the cyclone, I feel we've got some major work to do in the integrated catchment area, catchment groups, and that is the reason why I think as the councillor Rodley has already shown some real experience in this particular area, has got good connection with the farming, primary industry community, and I really hope that she will take on the work to make sure that soils will stay on hills, and that some of the hills that we possibly are not the best for farming should be retired, so that we actually can have regenerating forests. And that's really my wish. As with the young people, I believe it's very important for our Hawke's Bay region to really take that mahi on board, because we need to try and keep soils and water for longer. The soil definitely needs to stay on the hills, but the water needs to stay longer in the catchment, so that our flood protection can cope with when we have similar events like Cyclone Gabrielle. So it's all working hand in hand, and I think you have the skills and the ability and understanding of make that work a priority for this committee. Notwithstanding, though, that the environment is equally as important and should go hand in hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Curtin?
Very supportive of the nomination. Very pleased to see.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair? So now that will be part of the terms of reference altogether, and we ask Councillor Rodley to speak first before we move it, or after? After we can put that motion, can't we? Because there's no other. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Great. So put that motion to the table. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Councillor Rodley, would you like to speak to that?
I'm very honoured to take on the role of chair of the Environment Committee for the Hawke's Bay Regional Council. The work to be done is enormous, and I'm confident that with wise heads around this table, arm in arm, shoulder to the grindstone with our community, we have got the opportunity to make a difference for our taio, for our flood, the safety of our people across the whole region, and working towards having our upper catchments doing the role and playing the important role that they can, both in our economy and in the keeping safe of the biodiversity and the waterways, so that we are working more in harmony, more linked in getting great outcomes for our mokopunas as we leave our triennium. So thank you for your trust, and welcome. Because it's a committee of whole, it is much work for us all to do, and so I take on the lead role in that, and will be grateful for the wise heads and the work to be done. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call for nominations in a moment for the Deputy Chair. I just want to acknowledge that our table has been hugely enhanced by two of our new councillors. Councillor McElroy from Wairoa, but representing Maui ki Taraki all the way down to Ahuriri, and her decades of experience in freshwater catchment work, tile work. This committee will be hugely enhanced by your membership, and also Councillor Kuklinski, who comes with as well decades of understanding of organic soil processes, soil conservation, land management, two things that haven't been so richly represented around the table. So I think we're very lucky for this committee. So with that, I'd like to call for nominations, please, for EICC Deputy Chair. Do I have a nomination for that, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Councillor Kuklinski for the position of Deputy Chair of that committee.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Councillor McIntosh, thank you. Do you accept the nomination? Yes. Do I have any other nominations for Deputy Chair? Thank you. Would you like to speak, Councillor Curtin?
Very briefly, Madam Chair. I'm in considering the councillor for that position. I think it's a recognition of the importance of soil management and the opportunities for particularly around regenerative farming, which in my view has the potential for very substantial change in the way we manage our land, given that the vast majority of our land is pastoral farming, and I think there are tremendous gains to be had in terms of keeping the soils on the land and producing more by having that sort of expertise around the table, particularly advocating those positions. So I think the addition of the councillor to that role will make a huge impact over the next 3 years. So very happy to putting forward for Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Councillor McIntosh, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Look, I endorse both your and Councillor Curtin's comments, especially in respect to Councillor McElroy. I'm sort of drawn to the fact that Councillor Kuklinski has a geographic advantage of where he is at, and I think that actually is quite important to ratepayers. So that was a component in my thought. And the other aspect is, which actually it probably applies to both councillors too, but he appears to be very pumped about the role, so I'm enthusiastic about that.
Thank you. Pumped for the role as a reason for nomination. Excellent. So we have a mover and a seconder. No other nominations. Yes. All those in favour, please say aye. I'm so sorry. Yes, Councillor Ormsby.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I just note the vast experience that we have around the table, and that within the terms of reference for this committee, there isn't mention of Mātauranga Māori, although we speak about the aspiration and to improve in these aspects. So this is what I feel Councillor McElroy could add to, and actually I'd like to put forth a bit of a recommendation to the Chair, Councillor Roadley, that there's space, within, I guess, your caucus or the duo that come forth, that there is a portfolio that actually attends to wanting to improve Mātauranga Māori and the business we do in the environment. So, look, I'll just put that there because I think it's a valuable piece of experience that we could utilise within that committee particularly.
Agreed. Yeah. And I do note it's not within the terms of reference, although we certainly have a framework now across the whole council for Mātauranga Māori, but I think your suggestions are excellent. Thank you.
Could I respond to that?
No, not at this stage, but that will come up at our first EICC meeting. That's an opportunity. Okay, thumbs up. Thank you. So are there any other speakers? No, so I'm going to put that motion to the... Pardon?
You have already.
No, I went to, and then I realised I hadn't asked Councillor Ormsby for her comment. So all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Thank you, carried. Congratulations. Councillor Kuklinski, would you like to speak?
I probably shouldn't speak too much about shingle, right?
We call it gravel here.
Okay, well, I'll just state that soil is not dirt, except on a building site, perhaps. And I obviously have a love of the soil, and soil science has moved on hugely in the last 10 years or so, and it was only in 1996 that they've discovered glomalin, which is a hiding place for about a third of the world's stored carbon, and that's a protein derived with mycorrhizal fungi, and that's something that we could be working on with farmers to increase in our soil and give all those benefits, soil infiltration and higher nutrients, and so you'll get better plant growth or tree growth. Just leave it there.
Thank you. So we're moving to item 6. So this is the Finance Risk Audit Committee. We're going to adopt the terms of reference. So there will be a recommendation on the name change. We've discussed that, but we have the same issue as EICC around our members there. So I'll be looking for someone either to adopt as it is with the voting rights in place, or would you like to comment on that, Desi?
So the terms of reference don't specifically say, they don't have that same section that EICC had, which was authority to act. So perhaps it's not such an issue for these terms of reference.
So membership on 4, so we're on page 163, if that helps everyone. Membership, point 4, 4.1, all members of council, so it's a committee of the whole, plus one representative of the Māori committee and one representative of the regional planning committee. Are you saying that there is no need to, there is no specific?
There is
to the.
It's probably not as big a change as was proposed in the previous one. There is still Section 3 accountability that the Finance, Risk and Audit Committee is delegated by Council to, and then those 5 things, which is similar to last term.
Sure, but I think given the conversation, we should be clear whether the members are voting or non-voting members. So I'll be looking for a recommendation from someone on that.
So that means that we could nominate the same motion, number 3, that you've proposed, and I'll move that motion, that we put that in place.
Do you have a seconder for that? Councillor Kuklinski, thank you. So 4.1 would read, all members of council, one representative of the Māori committee, one representative of the regional planning committee, with the same line as non-voting members, something similar to that. That's the proposal. We'll hold that one there. So you've got the, if you're on the same page, 165, you'll have the terms of reference for that committee. Are there any other discussions around any change to any of the terms of reference, including the name? Make the recommendation on the name, Councillor Curtin. So finance, risk and finance, risk, comma.
Sorry, finance, audit, risk and emergency.
I want to swap them around, okay? Finance, audit, comma, risk and emergency committee. Is the proposal? Want to move that?
Yep, I'll move that, Mr Chair.
And emergency. Happy to move it. A seconder for name change. Thank you, Councillor Waitoa. You've spoken to that already, don't need to. So any other comments on that? Okay, we can put that motion as well. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. So we've made 2 amendments. Are there any others or any other comments on the terms of reference? No. So if you look in your recommendation, 6.1 confirms that we will be looking for an independent chair for this committee. The process for that is the staff will bring back a process and suggestions for that role. In the meantime, we nominate a deputy chair for that role, and they will act as the chair until such time as the independent chair is appointed. So can I call for nominations for the independent chair for that, please?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would like to nominate Councillor Waitoa for that position.
Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second him. Thank you.
Councillor Ormsby. Do I have any other nominations for deputy chair for that? No, thank you. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
Very briefly, because, and the reason for doing so, Madam Chair, is that this is an unusual and new structure that we've got in play, and I've been greatly impressed with Councillor Waitoa's appreciation of the sorts of issues that are covered by this committee. But I would note that because of the independent chair position, it does create an additional burden on the deputy to be having significant engagement with the chair to bring council issues to the table, because as you can appreciate, the independent chair is not present around the table for the vast majority of business. So it adds an additional burden around that, and it was probably my preference that in fact a co-chair position was created for that reason. I understand that wasn't possible under the conditions. So, but thoroughly recommend Councillor Waitoa for that position. I'm absolutely certain that we're going to get great value out of our newest, or one of our newer members.
Thank you. Councillor Ormsby?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And look, just supporting the comments of Councillor Curtin, that I fully support Councillor Waitoa into this deputy position, given his experience in finance, in audit and insurance. So I think he'll do a splendid job growing into possibly a chair role later on in the term. So yeah, really encouraged by the enthusiasm and the work ethic. So happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? So I'm going to...
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yes?
Yeah, I just would like to agree with Councillor Ormby's suggestion that I've never really been that keen on an independent chair. It's got to do a little bit with the cost, but I think, no doubt, Councillor Waitoa will grow into this role, and maybe we'll make some changes later on if that's at all agreeable to council. So, thank you.
I'm going to put the motion, so 6.1, 6.2, Councillor Waitoa as Deputy Chair, and with the two additions, the name change and the voting rights to the table. We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Congratulations, Councillor Waitoa. Would you like to speak?
Well, I'd firstly like to thank everyone and thank my nominators and for the kind words and for the trust, and also for our community for the trust that they can embed. I'm really looking forward, really excited to get into this kaupapa and to help support and in and around the independent as well, the independent chair. So I'm really looking forward to moving forward into that role. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you. Item 7, this is the CE Employment and Performance Review Committee. The terms of reference, next one down, if anyone wants to look at those. Are there any comments, additions, suggestions for those terms of reference? Page 166, if that helps you. No comments. The committee is made up of the chair, the deputy chair, and a councillor from one of our Māori ward seats. So it automatically is filled with me, Councillor Van Beek, and the councillor appointment. So can I have a nomination, please, for that member?
Can I nominate Councillor Hawke?
Do you have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor McElroy. Any other nominations for that? No. Any other comments on the terms of reference committee? No. Okay, mover and a seconder. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? That's carried. Thank you. Councillor Ormsby, would you like to speak?
There we go. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think Councillor Hawke is best placed for this position, given he was a committee member last term. So it provides some consistency there and understanding of the organisation from his last term across all council business. So yeah, thank you. Supportive.
Councillor McElroy.
Tautoko Thompson. I've been new on the council, but I'm not new in the title. But yeah, tautoko.
Kia ora. Councillor Hawke, congratulations.
Quickly for you, Chair. Thank you for the nomination. I look forward to once again being a part of this committee. We've got a big term in front of us. I think working through, I guess, the work plan, the annual plan, is going to be a big focus for us this round. But our council chair and deputy chair this committee is going to be very vital.
Yes. Kia ora, thank you. Item 8 is establishing the Council Appointments Committee, CAC, I know you don't like that, and adopts the terms of reference as proposed. So just a reminder for new councillors, this is a committee that is set up to manage the appointments to HBRIC. It has an independent member to it, it has the chair of HBRIC, and it has 2 councillor appointments onto that. So you'll see that the chair, Debbie Birch, it's not Deborah, it's Debbie Birch, is there. We will come back at the end of this month with some recommendations from staff on the independent at the table, and we will appoint 2 councillors to that role. Then any councillors who wish to apply to go on to the HBRIC Board as directors go through that process with that committee, as do independent directors if we go out to market for those. So these are appointments, so I'd just like to make a recommendation that we appoint Councillor McIntosh and Councillor Ormsby to that committee. Do I have someone that can second me for that, please? Councillor McElroy? Oh, Councillor Waitoa, thank you. Do we have any comments on the terms of reference or any other pieces in that? They're the same as last year, the same as last training. Comfortable with that? Thank you. You're happy to accept, obviously. And Councillor McIntosh, thank you. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9, this is the establishment of the Investment Strategy Committee, the ISC. This is a new committee, and if you go to the terms of reference here, I'll just be looking for any comments or amendments, and we might ask the Chief Executive or Pip. This will come under your work stream if you had any additions to add to terms of reference. You're comfortable with where we are? Okay. So, comments, please. Hawke? From you? Everyone's comfortable with that?
Yep.
So we are going to, again, this is a, yes, we're looking for nominations, please, for members to this committee.
I would like to nominate Councillor McIntosh.
Correct. Thank you. Just a note. So this committee, under the terms of reference, you'll note, states that any councillor can be a member except directors, of those who are directors of HBRIC. So the only people that can be appointed to this are non-directors, or if you are looking to become a member of HBRIC, you wouldn't want to be on this committee. Thank you. So you would like to nominate?
Yeah, Councillor McIntosh.
Councillor McIntosh, seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Second that, thank you. As the chair, or the chair role?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. Councillor
Let's give him
McIntosh?
some work for a change.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for chair of that committee? No? We'll need any other nominations for committee members, please.
How many do you need, Madam Chair? 2.
Up to 4.
Up to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Can I nominate you, Chair, to be on that?
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Van Beek. Other nominations?
I'll nominate Councillor Van Beek.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cooten. I'd like to nominate Councillor Hawke for that committee. Mm-hmm. Do we have a seconder?
Second that.
Mm-hmm. Councillor Van Beek. Mm-hmm. Any other nominations for that committee?
Anyone in the gallery?
How many is that? Is that 4?
That's 4.
That's 4.
This, as with all committees, as things change through the term, membership can be amended, changed, etc. Okay, I'm going to put all of those 4 nominations as a motion, please. No other comments? Thank you. So all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? All carried, but I will ask you, Councillor McIntosh, to speak as you've just been appointed chair to that committee.
Thank you, Chair. This is the good stuff about what we do, in my view. We've got over $500 million worth of investments, and we've got a really good opportunity to do better out of the funding we get from those investments. And if you think of that in the context of all the other stuff we do costs a lot of money. It's necessary, but it costs a lot of money. And this is our opportunity to do better with the revenue that we get. And if we get it right, then it does provide real and meaningful relief to rates. And that is probably the biggest biggest thing that affects our ratepayers. So actually, I'll use the phrase I used before, I'm pumped about the opportunity that this provides.
Thank you.
Glad it's not just me.
So moved and seconded and moved, so that one's done. Thank you. Let's move on to the Regional Planning Committee. Item 10. It says re-establish. All committees are dissolved at the end of a triennium, and then we're re-establishing. That's why it says there. So we're going to re-establish the Regional Planning Committee. I'm sorry, that's actually incorrect for Regional Planning Committee. It is a committee that continues. So we are agreeing to the terms of reference as proposed. Those are the same as last triennium. We have, as you know, co-chairs for that committee and deputy co-chairs. So before we look to the actual councillor appointments on there, I'll be looking for a nomination, please, for the co-chair of the RPC, who will be a councillor. Councillor Van Wyk.
Yes, I would like to nominate Councillor Ormsby as the co-chair of the RPC on behalf of our council.
I'd like to second.
I'd like to second that. Councillor McElroy, thank you. I think we might, we'll go on and we'll come back to, no, we'll do speaking now, because then we will appoint the 9. Thank you. Councillor Van Wyk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important for our relationship with the settlement groups, but also Councillor Ormsby has done this work remarkably well in the previous triennium, and she has a real passion for this work. So I believe she is the best around the table to actually lead this on behalf of our council.
So thank you. Agreed. Councillor McElroy?
Tautoko. And I suppose to reiterate is about continuity. Why was Councillor, get used to that. Councillor Ormsby was in the RPC when I was a member for one of the PSGs, and that's good to see that carrying on. Haere tonu. So fully supported.
Fully support. I'll come to Tanya in a second just to endorse the appointment. It's incredibly important. This committee is incredibly important to us, and to have Councillor Ormsby there as the co-chair leading that work is to great benefit of this council and to the region. To Tanya, Ms Hopkins.
Kia ora, thank you. Hey, sorry, was it about, I had my hand raised a little bit earlier. Did I hear you say that the resolution relates to the appointment of council members? It's not about the re-establishment of the committee because it's permanent?
Exactly. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Correct. That's good. That was all I was checking. Thank you.
Thank you. Or would you like to speak on the nomination as well? Did you get cut off there? So we've nominated, second, and spoken to Councillor Ormsby as co-chair for the committee.
Thank you. As the previous co-chair of the Regional Planning Committee, I've enjoyed working with Hiniwai, trying to nut through things and to work things out. So I wholeheartedly endorse the appointment on behalf of, or the nomination on behalf of the Tangata Whenua members. Myself and Tanya Eden had some discussions, and yes, we definitely do support that nomination. So thank you.
Councillor Ormsby.
Yeah, just thank you to the nominations and the supporters. I'm looking forward to this mahi going forward. We've got a lot to do in natural hazards as well as the environment plan when we know what the government wants from us. So I'm really looking forward to working with you all in the PSGs, continuing the hard work and making sure we make good decisions together. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you. So we also need to nominate a deputy co-chair for the committee, please. Do I have a nomination for that?
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to nominate you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Ormsby. Any other nominations for deputy chair? No? Would you like to speak?
No, I think that's an excellent team, especially what's coming from government prior to Christmas as an amazing gift. Hopefully it's got a nice bow on it.
Oh.
Be a blue one, no doubt. No, that's
Thank you.
what I have to say.
Councillor Ormsby?
Yeah, just to support the comments already made around the nomination, is that it would be very good to keep connected as you as chair, as well as myself, the co-chair, given there's going to be a regional spatial conversation that we need to have as a region as well. So, yeah, very happy with that.
Thank you. Very pleased to take on this role, acknowledging again the significant contribution, but also the significant relationship of the RPC to this council. So with the two of us on that committee, we need 7 more because we match the PSGEs. There are 10 seats, but Tuhoe has not appointed to the committee. So an easier way to say it is 2 councillors will not sit on the committee, and they are Councillor Curtin and Councillor McIntosh. So the other 7 members are everybody else. Is that okay with you, Leanne? Were there any other comments on the terms of reference or any other parts of the document? No.
Madam Chair, you may actually have to endorse yourself as the co-chair because we haven't voted on that.
We're about to move all of it, so
All of
we're
it in
moving. We're
one?
moving Councillor Ormsby as co-chair, me as the deputy co-chair, the 7 other members on the committee, and the terms of reference all together.
Okay, good.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you very much. And on to the favourite committee of the day, the Regional Transport Committee.
Chair, did we acknowledge which 2 councillors won't be
Yes,
part
we
of
did.
the
Councillor McIntosh and
McIntosh.
Councillor Curtin.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
so those 2 will be off.
Yeah.
The Regional Transport Committee, primary committee for this region. If we don't move well, then the region does not thrive. So I am looking for a strong and encouraging nomination for the chair of this committee, please.
I'd like to nominate a strong Councillor Curtin.
Councillor Curtin, do we have a seconder?
Okay, then.
Councillor McIntosh got in.
Declamation, Chair.
Got in first. Councillor Curtin, most importantly, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Any other nominations for the chair of this committee? No. I'm going to also now call for, we'll do our speaking first, then I'll come to the deputy. Thank you, Councillor Ormsby.
Thank you, but more seriously, it is an important position.
Yeah.
And it's best taken up by a Napier or Hastings councillor, usually. Someone more central because, it's really important, our bus service from Napier to Hastings. Just really endorse Councillor Curtin and his experience. I know he's been on this committee a few times before also. Really endorse his leadership in this space.
Brilliant. Councillor McIntosh?
Yes, Councillor Curtin has unchallenged experience and has seen the ebbs and flows of this portfolio, over a long time. So I'm sure he will have a lot of value to bring.
Councillor Curtin?
Oh, look, all joking aside, Madam Chair, it is an important committee. It does some pretty important work. It's a statutory responsibility, a vital piece of infrastructure, as we found out in during Cyclone Gabriel and ongoing now. Probably our biggest, if you like, weakest link is our roading network. Our bus service continues to cause us some pain, particularly ratepayers, as everyone's aware from the changes to the rating model that we've introduced. So a lot of issues to deal with, but I think it is worth noting that a part of, and I think a neglected part of the Transport Committee's obligation is road safe. One of our leading causes of death in the region, and one of the causes of death that can be attributed significantly to the quality of our roading network. we are, and this council has a significant responsibility in setting the policies that can save lives. I think we should not underestimate what's possible through that particular committee and the engagement with the TAs around our transport network, added to by the spatial, proposed regional spatial committee that will form, of which transport is inevitably a significant part of. So I am actually looking forward to chairing that committee.
Excellent, thank you. You will also need a deputy chair, so I'm looking for a nomination for the deputy chair of that, please.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Councillor Parsons for that role.
Yes.
She's watching rugby at the moment, but I'm sure transport's in her wheelhouse.
Yes, I have checked with her.
I'd like to second that.
You'd like to second that? She would be willing to take on that role. Is there any other nominations for that? No. Would you like to make any comment?
No, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Leanne, just to check, I thought we also appointed an alternate to regional transport. Is that not correct? Okay, thank you. So we have a chair and deputy chair nominated, moved and seconded. Any other comments? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried.
Do we know that, sorry, excuse me, Chair, do we know that Councillor Parsons
Is willing to take, yes. I did ask her if there were no other nominations, if she was happy to take that role. She is. So items 12, 13, let's deal with 12. The CEDAM Joint Committee is chaired by the Chair of Hawke's Bay Regional Council. So that is an appointment for me.
Sorry, to
please.
clarify,
Yes.
the chair of the regional council is appointed to the committee. The committee itself elects its chair.
Thank you. Okay, very important. So I am the representative on the CEDAM Joint Committee, and Deputy Chair Yera van Beek automatically becomes the alternate. So is everyone comfortable for that? The terms of reference will be brought to the Council for confirmation once that Joint Committee is that. I won't move that yet, we'll come to that. 13, I want to comment on the Māori Committee, and I'll ask Mr Paku to speak, but the Māori Standing Committee from last term is in conversation with itself and with Tangata Whenua and with our Māori Partnerships team. The intention is to re-establish that committee later in the track, but Mr Paku, could you speak to that for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we, at the end of our term, put a recommendation forward that the council, the incoming council, consider the re-establishment of the Māori Standing Committee. We believe it brings great value to the organisation and also in regards to those councillors that wish to sit on that committee. We believe it establishes good communication between the council and back out to our wider communities. It puts a human face to the relationship, which is extremely important. The other thing I would say in regards to this committee, Madam Chair, is that we don't have a limit ourselves. We don't place a limit on the number of councillors that wish to sit on that committee, but we do understand that councillors are busy. And although you may wish to sit there, you may not actually have the time to do so. I have had earlier a conversation with Tania Hopkins in regards to potentially we will have a joint workshop with our RPC Māori members in regards to what does our political structure, not just in regards to the council and these two committees, but also the wider political structure for Kahanunu, because they're one and the same conversation. As we know, it's just a maturing of our political structures, given that we're now into a post-settlement environment where all of these settlement groups have settled. We have our Tai Whenua, we have our Niki, so, what does the future hold for us? We understand it's just as confusing for us as it is for non-Māori at times.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great description. So that will come back to us early in the new year with a structure and discussion, and we'll stand that committee up. At that point, you'll see the terms of reference for that in the membership. And the item 14, which I might ask Councillor Van Beek to speak to,
Yep.
on the Joint Strategy Committee.
Yeah, so currently we are more or less in recess as a joint committee. Plus we have Hastings that no longer contributes to that particular joint committee. And the work is in progress at the moment to work with stakeholder groups and the two cells, the northern and the southern cell. That work is progressing rather well, and we will, as a council, arrive at an agreement to consult. But there's actually no reason that we actually have to have a joint committee and have the extra cost of having a joint committee. But however, the councillors that have played a role in this space, definitely in Hastings and the existing one in Napier, they're all in agreement with us that we have a working group and that we'll continue to keep this work and keep supporting our program director and also our communities in having these discussions. So I think it's a good recommendation, and hopefully we will get to a resolve that we will adopt the strategy in due time, and that the community will get behind us once we go for consultation in due time. So I think it's a good recommendation, Madam Chair.
And in the meantime, Councillor Van Beek and Councillor Parsons have both agreed to carry the work around community engagement and interaction for the council. So are there any comments on 12, 13 or 14? I'm going to move from the chair 12, 13 and 14. Have I got a seconder? Councillor Roadley? Thank you.
Oh, you okay. If you move the second.
Yes, all those in favour? Pardon?
Councillor Van Beek's been greedy.
Yeah, thanks for your help, Councillor.
Yes. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I know that was complicated, but we've got there. Let's have some lunch and we'll come back to councillor appointments to other bodies at 1:10. Thank you. 5.4, councillor appointments to other bodies. Recommendations that we receive and consider the councillor appointments to the other bodies report, that we agree the decisions are not significant under the criteria contained in the council's adopted significance and engagement policy. So we're going to do all of them. We'll move and second them, but then we'll we'll move the whole lot together at the end. So we have first up the Te Pomiti, Murawai or Te Whanga. Do we have a mover and a seconder for a councillor appointment to that, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Councillor Ormsby for that role.
Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. Councillor McElroy. Leanne, I thought we appointed alternates to these as well. No? Thank you. Councillor Ormsby, are you...
No, I think the change of terms of reference of that to committee a few months ago was to include alternates. Can we just do that today just in case?
Yes,
Yep,
we can do that.
please.
Can I
Can I have a nomination, please, for an alternate?
Councillor Curtin, please?
Councillor Curtin, thank you. Councillor McIntosh, you happy to second that? Any other nominations? Would you like to speak to nomination? No, thank you. We are going to appoint someone to the Hawke's Bay Future Farming Charitable Trust. Do I have a nomination, please, for that? Just one, yes?
I'll nominate.
Councillor Kuklinski.
I'll nominate Councillor Rodley.
Councillor Rodley, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Curtin, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Do you like to speak, movers or seconders? No, thank you. The Upper Tukituk Steering Group, this is the Reimagining Rivers working group. So we are appointing 2 councillors to that. I'd like to suggest that that's our 2 Central Hawke's Bay and Te Maui. I've forgotten Councillor Hokianga's ward constituency ward name, please. Can someone help me? Maui ki te Tonga. Thank you. Apologies for that. So Councillor Kuklinski and Councillor Hokianga, could I have a seconder for that? Councillor McIntosh, accept that?
Yep.
The Hiratonga Plains Steering Group, we appoint 3 to this, and I'm going to also just make that recommendation around our ward councillors, Councillor Van Beek, Councillor Waitoa and Councillor Curtin as the 3 representatives for that. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor McIntosh, thank you very much.
Like finding them work.
Anybody want to speak on those? No? We have the local government zone 3 meetings and 2 councillors were appointed to that. Councillor Rodley and Councillor McIntosh did that last triennium, and there's also been a suggestion that we could move councillors into that role through the triennium to see more of other councils' work and what's going on. But I'd like to move that we appoint Councillor Hokianga and Councillor Parsons as the initial representatives to that. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Waitoa. Point 8, please note Council Chair Sophie Sears is Council's representative on the Matariki Governance Group.
Reducing flood risk in Hawke's Bay.
That's okay.
This popped up?
Since the cyclone.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't Googling.
Great video.
It's F7. F7.
There you go.
I did it the other night and I was looking for the volume button.
Could be worse.
Well, it's a good thing to pop up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
So are there any comments, please, or questions or anything on any of these appointments? No. So I'm happy to move, you have all of those, I'm happy to move all of those, 1 to 8. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Kuklinski. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Thank you, carried. Item 4.5, which is councillor remuneration and allowances. Chief Executive, did you want to make any comments on how this process works? And we have Leanne as well for
I
details.
think I would take the paper as read. I mean, ultimately, it's a decision for the table here. I think the paper gives you some options. The base is set by the Remuneration Authority, and it's really how you divvy that up according to responsibilities around the council table.
Madam Chair, could I suggest, given that we're online and it's for the councillors, we have the papers, but for our public, they don't have the papers. So perhaps maybe a bit more of a detailed explanation of how it comes about may be useful for the public. Because let's face it, unless you're taking a pay reduction, the public's never going to be happy.
Through you, Chair. So elected members for every council in the country receive a payment for the work that they do. Their pay is set by a thing called the Remuneration Authority. So elected members sitting around the council do not have the ability to change that number. That is set by the Remuneration Authority. The Remuneration Authority provides a pool to the council, and the council then has the ability to work out how it wants to distribute that pool according to the work that councillors do. So in front of you there are options around how you might want to remunerate chairs of committees, etc. So the system is designed to recognise the extra work that certain roles bring to their work around the council table. But just to reiterate, this is a process set by the Remuneration Authority.
Thank you. There was a small typo. Did you want to amend anything there?
Excuse me, sorry. Yes, in the second scenario 2 table, I unfortunately didn't copy the right pool amount down to the second table. So the figures within the table are the same. They're based on the correct size table pool. I just hadn't remembered to paste that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So are there questions on the paper and how it works? Yes, Councillor Ormsby?
Thank you. Just a correction, I think it's been omitted that the chair of the Coastal Hazards Joint Committee was also among those that had an elevated extra responsibility position.
Previous. Yeah.
Previously.
Yeah, that's just, I think that's just been missed in the paper.
Correct.
So it just needs a correction to add that.
No, because you're not re-establishing that committee.
No,
I
it
know,
talks
but
about
it
what-
reflects back on last terms who were in those positions and therefore who were paid at
It's just a
that higher
background.
rate.
Just
So
background.
it's just missing, so that just needs to be added.
Thank you, Councillor Ormsby. Any other questions? So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking to move 4.51 receives and considers the report. 2 agrees that the decision is not significant under the criteria. 3 to agree to the allowances paid to councillors. So these are an annual allowance for a mobile phone, a phone service, an internet service, a use of printer, ICT consumables, total. That's item 3. And then for item 4, we'll need a mover and a seconder on one of the options presented in the paper. What we won't know the final figures on how that plays out, but we know it will be more like scenario 2 than scenario 1, given that we've appointed not a separate, not the chair to the RPC. And there will be, we won't know the final outcome of that until the appointments to HBRIC are made. So there will be some change in there, but the base salary amounts over those options will stay the same. So I'll be looking for someone to move something for item 4.
So, Madam
questions.
Chair,
Yes.
I would like to, so we can open for debate.
Yeah.
I would like to move the motion that we go scenario 2, option 2, going forward.
Okay. Do you want to have some discussion first around that? No, you just want to move that? Okay.
I can move it.
Do you have a seconder for that?
But if we rather have the discussion first, I'm open to the table.
Okay. I think it would be. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, I'll withdraw.
Okay.
Just a question around scenario 2, option 2. Oh, well, we are in scenario 2, so.
Yeah.
Option 2, can you just remind us the benefits for those watching online? of scenario 2? Option 2.
The way that I put forward the scenarios was for the three options. Option 1 was to reflect how do I put this? Reflect that every single councillor has a lot of responsibility, no matter whether they are a chair or not. And so it was to divide the pool more equally amongst everyone. Scenario 2 set the the amount for a councillor with no additional responsibilities at the minimum allowable set by the remuneration authority. And so the remainder of the pool is just divided up by the ones with additional responsibility. In scenario 3, I proposed a figure that was in between those two options so that there was more recognition about the additional level of responsibility for those with roles as chairs or members of the HBRIC board and that. So that's how those scenarios were presented.
Okay. And last term it was option 3 that we went for in between.
Yes.
I recall.
And I think, if I recall correctly, how we arrived at, it wasn't strictly based on the numbers that were presented, because those could change depending on how many chairs, how many people on HBRIC are not chairs, was based on the arriving at a figure that was considered adequate to remunerate the additional responsibility, and then going from there to setting the councillors with no responsibilities.
Thank you. And as I remember reading the details of how you set this, it's not relative to time commitments. They are relative to responsibilities within the role. So that's something to think about just as you look at them. Like I say, they will.
What do you mean, Chair?
So it may be that the role doesn't take double the time, but that the role carries a responsibility with it to, whether it's to organise agendas or to lead work streams, that has a responsibility to it, not just a time component. Some people try to look at the difference as, oh, I'm doing double the work or half the work, but there is value associated with the responsibility of the position as well, something to consider.
Could you further expand on that then around the appointments to HBRIC, why those roles, given they can't be chairs, why they are recognised as the same as a chair?
I would suggest it's because they carry a responsibility and a directorship for a significant responsibility of portfolio.
Are you taking
questions?
Just questions?
Sure, comments? Yeah.
A comment?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can see Leanne's poised to...
I was just going to say that is a reflection of the appointment and remuneration of directors policy.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment, if that's
Sure.
all right.
Please, yeah.
Whilst I absolutely accept that this is, that we have no influence over it, I'm going to take this opportunity to once again point out that as a regional council, the members like myself and potentially Councillor Kuklinski and certainly Councillor McElroy, we will drive out of our driving allowance within the first 6 months through no fault of our own, but through the absolute description of where we live. And so for a regional council to represent the communities that it serves, it is incredibly important to have people from those communities attending these meetings. Ka nohi, ki te kanohi. We need to be here, not all the time, and I know that all of us use our discretion around when it's not quite so necessary to be in the building and use the facilities we've got online. However, it's important for us to be here. And so therefore, we literally pay for our own mileage for at least half of every year, given to geographics. And whilst I absolutely accept that is determined, I just need to say it every time.
Okay.
Well, can we clarify, councillor Roadley, after the 14,000 kilometres, it's not a zero payment, it's just a half payment,
A
so it
negligible
drops.
payment.
It drops to 40 cents, something, 37 cents a kilometre. Okay, thank you. Councillor Van Beek, then councillor
Yeah, also, just a question, I don't have my old data to go back to, but the previous deputy chairs, were they not on a different scale than the committee chairs?
No.
All the same?
Not last training, I don't know before, if you remember, no?
No,
Never.
I think that's why option 3 was attractive, and I still think is attractive. It tries to share the load with other councillors, knowing that we all have other responsibilities across other committees or working groups or our deputies. Because if we go with option 2, it doesn't quite reward all of those in deputy positions or working groups, which we have all tried to get across, which is why I think option 3 is the fairer to reflect that we've tried to all share the load in deputy positions.
Correct. Good comment, thank you. Comments up, President? No? Councillor Cooten?
It's my view, after much thought about this, is that the chair roles are very significant, both from a time commitment and from a responsibility point of view. I just think that there is a bigger difference than we've had in the past. I've experienced both scenarios, and whereas I appreciate the role that a deputy plays and attending to other responsibilities, it's my experience that a chair really does carry the can for a good percentage of heavy lifting.
Which leads you to?
I think option 2 is
For that reason you would?
So the differential is recognised.
Other comments?
Through you, Chair.
Councillor Whitehall?
Thank you. Just looking at the finance, audit, risk and emergency, so we have an independent chair that comes in. Currently we don't have an independent chair. What does that look like for the deputy chair?
Thank you.
Through you, Chair, I'll take any advice from Leanne or Desi if I need to, but I would assume that while until the appointment of the independent chair, if the deputy chair is required to chair, they would receive their relevant remuneration for that, but I'm just checking.
I'm not sure that would be accepted by the Remuneration Authority, because the Remuneration Authority has a proposal. Well, we could put it as a proposal to the Remuneration Authority, but the Remuneration Authority is really looking at setting the remuneration for the whole financial year, 1 year at a time. And if you change that partway through, then we have to go through the whole process of resubmitting a new proposal, and they will examine that and then come back to us with a decision as to whether or not they accept that. And also then it goes to Parliament to become, what do they call it? A determination.
We'll follow up, but yeah, it sounds as though it might be a challenge, but we'll follow up.
I will make the point there won't be a committee meeting for audit and risk until February, by which time we would be looking to appoint this month. So can we please follow up? Yes, and we'll come back on that. Thank you. Other comments? Councillor Roadley?
Yes, I'm drawn to Honeywise, Councillor Ormsby's rationale around option 3. However, I'm aware there's a motion on the table, so
No,
No, there isn't.
I wasn't asking for motions at that
Oh,
point.
sorry,
Yeah.
are you asking now?
Am I asking for a motion now? Yes, I am.
I would like to move option 3.
And I'd like to second that.
Well,
You'd like to second that?
Helen White was first.
Okay.
Sorry, councillor.
Councillor, well, speak to that, please, Councillor Roadley.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm drawn to both my sense of it's in the midpoint, which is always seems to be attractive. I think the option 2 does not reflect the work that all councillors, both the responsibility, we've spoken about how the remuneration reflects responsibilities that they hold, and also the work that they do. And I think everyone around this table is expected to and will be working incredibly hard for their communities. So I'm drawn to that higher base salary, which is in option 3, but I'm also drawn to the idea that the chairs and directors, actually it's a step up again. It's a significant more responsibility, and it's also a significant more amount of work. So that lands me at option 3 as being the best and fairest distribution of that pool.
Councillor Ormsby?
Thank you, Chair, and I've already spoken around my rationale. I think it's fair. I think it's in the middle. I think it sets a average in the middle base salary for those who don't have appointed positions but do contribute and will contribute in other means. I still think the reward of chair, committee chair positions is adequate. So yeah, it's really finding middle ground between the two extremes. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to put that motion to the table, just so everyone understands. If there's a motion where there's obviously some differing views, the motion gets put forward, and if it fails, then a second motion can come forward. So I'm putting the motion of, I'm going to put them all together actually, Leanne, and if they fail, we'll go back and start again. So I'm going to move, here it is. I'm going to move recommendations 1, 2, 3, recommendation 4, which will be option 3. We don't know yet, it will be whatever, which one, and not 5. No. Yes. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, and number 4 is option 3. Is everyone clear on what I'm?
Scenario 2, option 3.
The scenario actually is just determined by what happens in the voting with the HBRIC. They were there as examples of what may happen, but we won't actually. The options become irrelevant until the HBRIC directors have been appointed. So actually, it's option 3 is the important piece. Correct? Got it. I'm going to put that motion on the table. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against?
Against.
Any others? Okay, motion's carried. Thank you. And we have finished 25 minutes early. We don't have Councillor Hawke to close us today, so I shall take that role upon myself, and we're going to close with the one on your sheet, please. Kia tau, ngā manaakitanga, e te mea ngā
Te runga ki tēnā o tātou, kia māhia te hua mā kihikiri, kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aura, toi te reo Māori, kia tūturu, kia whakamaua, kia tīna, koie tai ki.
Thank you so much, everyone, for working through all of it. I know it's a really complicated agenda. Really appreciating all of it and looking forward to starting our work on our committees together. Thank you. Ngā mihi.
Very good.